What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trick 10s. Today we're going to be working on a 1981 1648 Bass Tracker 2. Now I know what you guys are thinking. This boat's extremely old. It's older than me. It's probably older than the majority of you watching this video. Normally I would not be working on a boat like this, but it's a friend of a friend. And the guy that owns this boat has the same passion and dreams of getting out on the water as you and I, so I'm going to do the best I can to help him out. He's done a lot of work to this thing. He's got a new floor in here and he's got a new transom in here. I'm going to be capping off this back transom and re-welding it since he replaced the wood in here. I'm going to give you guys a full once-over. Let's get back to work. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is the original trailer. Obviously they've cleaned it up and repainted it, put new bunks and stuff on it. This is definitely the original trolling motor though. This is one of those Minn Kota. This is actually a 555. So the 565 was the first model they had. This thing is ancient. It still works. So this is how they're going to power this boat. He redid this deck. He put this deck board in here. It's pretty heavy. I'm not exactly sure how well it's going to hold up. I mean, the screws in here are just regular deck screws. They are painted steel. Wouldn't have been my first choice. This stuff's expensive and it's heavy, but it's already done. They tore out this back deck and the front deck. You can see the glue line on the side where this front deck came up right here. They dropped that down and put the flooring in here. This thing originally had a side console in it, but he's got a clear open floor plan. And you can tell here too, where this back deck came right here, and he would have had a driver and passenger seat. One of my employees did make these little lids to go on these boxes. I don't know if these boxes were original in here or what, but they're in here now. He's just going to use those as some little bait wells. Let's get this thing put back together. All right, guys, so a lot of people hate on the Bass Tracker models. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I like them. I've owned two trackers. I've had a PT 175. It was a 1995 riveted hull. Currently, I own a PT 190, which I love. It's 2015. It's got the revolutionary welded hull. Those hulls are very, very nice, my personal opinion. They're fast, they run good. I have no complaints at all with the hull. The only issue with it is when I slow down, the back spray comes up over the back. Got to kind of bump it a little bit instead of just coming to a dead stop. All right, so quick history lesson. In the 1970s, bass fishing was a really up-and-coming sport. It wasn't until 1978 that the guy named Johnny Morris invented a package deal boat. It was the first ever Bass Tracker aluminum boat. It was a 16-foot boat. It came with a custom trailer. It came with a 35 horsepower outboard motor, a Humminbird 60, and a Minn Kota 565 trolling motor. Now at the time, this was cream of the crop. This package deal came in at only $3,000. It took 4 years from that time before they actually opened their first store in Missouri and started selling these things pumped out of the assembly line. So with that being said, this is a 1981 model. So there's a good chance that this might have actually been one of the original Bass Trackers ever built. It's pretty crazy when you think about it like that. In 1980, they were selling 3 separate models: Bass Tracker 1, Bass Tracker 2, and Bass Tracker 3. This one is a Bass Tracker 2. It's a 1648. This one actually came with a side console, and it was set up kind of just like the PTs are now, with the consoles and front deck and rear deck. It's pretty sick. I'm going to attach the link for you guys to go check that out. It's some good information. I mean, it's the history of the Bass Trackers and John boats. I think it's pretty cool. It interests me. It's a cool little link to check out. Anyways, let's get into this build. All right, so this is the way the back of this boat is originally constructed. Now there was a back deck in here and it's all been removed. But when they took this piece out, they have to cut it out. It's welded in. So they cut it out, replaced the transom. The transom in here is 40 years old. It was shot. So they put a new wooden transom in here. Now we're gonna replace this piece, get it up here, clamped in good, and throw some welds on here, get this thing back on the water. Let's get back to work. You can see inside of this back transom area, I mean, this thing has some huge holes in it. It's been patched up with some sealant. There was really nothing I could do to fix it. I did get one of my guys to start welding on the outside of it here. There's a little crack in the back. Look at the bottom of this thing. It's in terrible shape. I mean, it's been patched with years of putty and sealant. I don't even know what this stuff is. but this whole rib right here was Swiss cheesed up. I mean, I tried to clean it up and there was just nothing I could do for it. But look at this stuff, it's just flaking off of here. I'm hoping it doesn't leak. More than likely it's gonna leak. I'm pretty sure they got a good sized bilge pump in here, or at least I hope they do. Anyways, we're gonna get this thing fixed up.
All right, so real quick, just want to show you what we got. I got this whole back piece tacked up in here now. It actually fit surprisingly very well. I had to clamp it and manipulate it a little bit, but for the most part, it actually fits extremely good. Got a couple tacks on. I'm gonna come back and weld all this solid. Then I'm gonna build a cap. So I'm gonna go over this section right here, just like a C channel, drop right over this. Connect all this together, shoot some rivets up in the backside right here, have it come down lower than this, that way these rivets can go through it also, and I'll throw some tacks on it where I can. I'm gonna get this thing welded up. Let's get back to work.
All right, so we got the whole splash well welded in. Surprisingly, it welded pretty good. Considering the age of this aluminum, it cleaned up. I turned my amps down to about 96, 94, something like that. But it welded up good, both sides. I'm gonna smack this out right here in just a second. I'm gonna build this cap for this. But those welds are impressive. Had a little bit of trouble with that corner because they cut it out a little funky, but all in all, turned out pretty good. I'm gonna go cut a piece of aluminum in the shear and bend it to come up and over this and cap this off. We'll get this piece on there and wrap this job up. Let's get back to work. All right, so I just bent this piece up. I cut it 4 5/8. I got 2 inches here, 1 5/8 in the center, and 1 inch up on the outside. This is going to drop right over the existing transom and sandwich this all together. I built this out of 0.10 aluminum. I am gonna have to notch these corners a little bit where this slope is right here. I'm gonna do that now, try to get this piece fitted good. We'll get it installed. All right, let's get this thing welded on here. right, sweet. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna throw a couple rivets in here in the back and the front. I'm gonna let the customer finish up the rest of this. Like I said, this build was for a buddy of a buddy. Just trying to help him out, get this thing back out on the water. If I was gonna restore a boat, I would never start with this hull. This thing has a lot of history and it's pretty cool. It makes it interesting to me, but if I saw this boat in the junkyard, I would leave it there because it's not worth it to me to restore it. It's just not. It's gonna end up with issues and leaks down the road. If you're looking at getting a boat, you're gonna get an aluminum boat, get a welded boat. Do yourself a favor, you can thank me in the long run. I'm gonna get this thing riveted in here. Let's get back to work. It's a wrap. All right guys, so it's a wrap for this project. We got this transom cap put in, splash wells installed, all welded out, nice and strong. I'm not gonna say it's as good as it was originally because obviously this boat is old as crap. It's gonna have issues, but I think it's gonna be sweet when it's all finished up, and I hope that he gets a good long life out of this thing. So keep in mind, a lot of you guys are looking to do your own restorations. You see a lot of people doing it. You think it's a great deal. You get a boat for free or a $500 boat. Yeah, but the amount of work and money you're gonna put into that boat, you should start with a good hull. That is your number one thing. If you're gonna go with an aluminum boat, start with a welded hull. You can thank me later. You see a whole lot of YouTube guys doing these boat restorations, and they're literally in the same boat as everybody else. They get a cheap boat, think they're gonna fix it up, it's gonna be easy. No, it's not. A lot of them never finish their projects. They end up trashing them or passing them or selling them to someone else. Anyways, appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like, subscribe button. It's time for me to get back to work. The ice cream man is coming. I gotta go see if you got any more of them Choco Tacos before they're all gone.